everybody and welcome to LAB. I am baking this week. LAB is in the kitchen and I'm making my favourite recipe of all time, which is my version of Mary Berry's banana loaf with chocolate chips. It is a fail-safe every single time. It's great if you have old bananas lying around. The older the better, brown, spotty, love it. Get them in there. It's so easy to make. I take it to work all the time after I've had a weekend at home chilling and I decided to do some baking and it goes well every time. An absolute treat. Even if you don't like banana bread, I promise you that you will not be disappointed with this. Let's crack on and get into it. Okay, in terms of ingredients, I'm going to talk you through what I'm using. I will link the recipe at the end, so don't worry too much about remembering it. 2 bananas, first of all. The older the better. They don't have to be as ripe as this. They can be much older, browner, spottier, the better they go. Flour, 150 grams plain flour, sifted. 150 grams of caster sugar. You can use regular caster sugar. I've used golden caster sugar here because I think it gives a slightly more caramelly flavour and I like it, but you can easily use plain if you don't have any golden. 100 grams unsalted butter, slightly melted to make it easier to mix. 2 eggs, a couple of tablespoons of milk, semi-skimmed is probably the best one to use in this recipe, 100 grams of dark chocolate chips, 1 teaspoon each of baking powder and bicarbonate of soda. I'm not going to lie, I don't really know what these things do or what the difference is between them, but they are vital, so make sure you don't skip them. I also like to add in for my own twist a teaspoon of vanilla essence. In terms of things that you need to bake, this is my sieve. I've used that for the flour. I'm also going to use it a little bit later on for my little trick, which I will show you. I've got one of these flexi tins to bake in. This is about 8.5 inches long by a couple of inches high, but you can use anything of a similar size. It doesn't have to be this. I've got my scraper slash spreader, which we're going to use to scrape the bowl later. And that is about everything that we need in order to get started. So let's go. Okay, all my ingredients are laid out. I have preheated my oven to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty standard temperature for a fan oven. First thing I'm going to do is chop up my bananas and mash them so they are a bit easier to mix. Literally just taking a knife, chopping it into tiny little bits. Doesn't have to be fancy in any way. Just getting them in there. There we go. And we're just going to mash it all in with a fork, nothing too technical, just so they are mashed and easy and a little bit easier to mix with the hand whisk. Just mash them up so they look a little bit like this. And then we are ready to mix everything else in. One of the best things about this recipe is the fact that you can just put everything in together. You don't have to worry about mixing different bits separately or your liquid separately or anything like that. You just shove it all in, which is brilliant. So I'm going to tip my sifted flour in first of all. I'm then going to put my teaspoon of each of these bicarb and baking soda in before I forget. Don't really need to be sifted as long as they're mixed properly. There we go, those are all done. Next thing I'm going to put in is the sugar. Get that in there. Then we'll go with the butter. You can see that's nice and squishy and ready to use. And then I am going to go in with the eggs. I'm going to put a little bit of milk in. I'm not going to put the whole thing in because I am going to mix that kind of gradually as we go through. I'm also leaving the chocolate chips aside. There is a reason for that and I will show you why I am doing that a bit later on. So what I'm going to do with all of this is I'm going to mix it with my electric hand whisk. I have to go over there and mix it because there is no plug socket here, so I'm quickly going to whiz that up. Just a standard electric hand whisk. You can pick one up for £6 from Argos. I googled it this morning and they're a really handy thing to have in the kitchen if you don't have one. So pick yourself up one, you can use it for so many things and they are super cheap. So I'm going to whiz that up and then I will show you what the finished mixture looks like. Okay, so I've mixed everything together with my electric hand whisk. What I did was I was mixing and I slowly mixed in the rest of the milk, save for a little bit which we're going to put on the top right at the very end, and I also mixed in my teaspoon of vanilla essence. So my mixture now looks like this. You should have something which looks a little bit like that. quite sloppy, but still got some texture to it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that to one side while we sort out the chocolate chips. So what I'm gonna do with the chocolate chips is I've got them in a bowl here. I'm gonna put them in a sieve like this, tip the chocolate chips in there, and then grab another bowl. It doesn't matter if it's had stuff in it, we're not gonna use it for the actual cake mix anyway. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour flour over the top of the chocolate chips. The reason why I do this is because otherwise all of the chocolate chips will sink to the bottom. I don't understand the science behind it, but for some reason, if you coat them in flour, you do not get the sinkage issue. This works with fruit or anything else where you're putting something which is heavier than the cake mix itself into the mix. It stops things from sinking to the bottom. So we're literally just gonna sift those in there, get rid of all the excess flour so it doesn't add to the mixture, and then we are gonna put them into our cake mix. All we're gonna do now is we're just gonna fold the cake mixture with the chocolate chips in it a little bit like this, just to get a good mix. Doesn't have to be crazy even, just make sure you're mixing it so that everything looks roughly mixed and you're gonna get a little bit of chocolate chip in every single slice. No art to it, just stir it around a little like this. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour this into our tray. I've greased this tray, but you don't really need to, in all fairness, because mine is a flexi non-stick one. But if you have a sticky one, you can either line it with paper or you can grease it if you like. So again, no art to it. We're literally just pouring all of the mixture into the tray. Okay, I think we have just about got all of it. We're just going to spread it out a little bit so it's even in the tin. So it looks a little bit like this. Just get rid of that excess on the side, otherwise that will burn. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour a tiny little bit of milk over the top. The only reason I do that is just because it gives it a really nice golden brown texture on the top if you do that. So just splash that around, mix it around, and then we are ready to put it in the oven. Goes in for 40 minutes. Don't be alarmed if the top goes very brown very quickly. The top will brown before the rest of the mixture actually cooks. So I would take it out and check it after about half an hour. Do the knife test. If you don't have a skewer, then just stick a knife in the top of it, pull it out, and see how gooey your mixture is. There will be cracks in the top of it anyway, so you're not going to have any issues with it looking like you've had a knife stuck through it. You won't even notice. So stick a knife in it and see how it looks. You should get a little bit of goo because some of it will continue to cook and solidify after it comes out of the oven, but you don't want a really sticky knife because that means you're just going to have raw mixture in there after it cools. So let's stick it in there and leave it for 40 minutes. Right, whilst that is cooking, I am going to show you some of the other stuff that I've been up to this week, including the Peaky Blinders premiere, which I went to with Amber, and also the launch of the new made homeware stores in the mailbox. So I hope you enjoy that for the next few minutes, and I'll be back with the finished cake shortly. Monday all. Amber and I are here at the premiere. Subscribers. Yeah, we're doing a joint presentation today because Amber wants to get involved. As you will know from my last vlog, we are doing this thing where we do something ridiculous every Monday, although this has to top it. We're at the Peaky Blinders premiere at Cineworld on Broad Street. I managed to win myself tickets. I don't know how. We both went in for it, but I didn't win. Somehow. I wasn't as lucky. Somehow I just got tickets. So anyway, we are standing right next to the red carpet outside Cineworld. The stars are just walking up now. Then we're going to get a chance to go in, have a meet around, and then go to a pre-screening of the first episode of the new series, which is coming out I think mid-November, if I'm right. So yeah, we're just loving life right now, standing next to Nando's, wishing that somebody would come bring us a Nando's because I'm absolutely
also
starving.
doing an excellent job of the co-presenting. Said about 10 words so far. More for me to follow.
Vlogging debut here.
Yeah.
So we will try and get some footage of the red carpet and some stars for you to enjoy, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit. Peaky Blinders was awesome, and now we're having a Peaky Nando's. Get it? This is what we're eating. Look out. Hi! Oh, I am so tired. I'm literally dying, and this headband is cutting off circulation to my brain. So I'm going to eat this super quickly and then get home and chill out, ready for another school day tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed the footage. Catch up with you in my next video. Bye bye. Here she is, all ready to go. Hey. Hello everybody, it's Thursday the 2nd of November. I am at the MkII launch in the mailbox, which is super cool. So MkII have launched their first flagship store, I think, on the bottom floor of the mailbox, right underneath Harvey Nichols, and they've taken over the whole bottom floor and it looks so cool. Got a DJ set up tonight, canapes, drinks, all kinds of stuff, and there's loads of very fancy looking people milling around. So as usual, I'm trying my best to fit in. I'm just gonna reach around, check out some cool lights, lots of copper stuff, which I'm really enjoying, and I have a feeling I'm going to spend a lot of money in here. So I'm going to carry on, enjoy my evening, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Welcome back. My banana bread is done. It's out of the oven and it looks like this. So you can see it's a little bit brown on the top and a little bit crackled, and I did the knife test and the knife looks like this. So you can see there's a little bit of melted chocolate on there, but no mixture, which is what we want. This was actually in the oven for over 50 minutes because I kept checking it and it kept looking a bit gooey, so I left it until then. What I'm going to do now is I am going to leave it to cool for about half an hour to an hour, and then I'm going to take it out of the mould, cut it up and show you what the finished product looks like. I hope you've enjoyed this video, which is something a little bit different. I'm hopefully going to do some more baking videos over Christmas because it's such a great time to be in the kitchen. Let me know what you think of this video and if you want to see more baking videos from me. Until then, I will see you next time. Bye guys!